The sky above the shattered plains shook as the enemy fleet unleashed another blast that cracked the shields of the Queen's final fortress. The Queen of the Vera stood at the central balcony, tall and armored in organic plates that shimmered like molten silver. Her forces were scattered across the ruins below, forming broken lines against the marching enemy machines. She could feel the despair spreading through her army like cold wind through an open chamber. She had known losses before, but never defeat on this scale. Her people were proud warriors, skilled and fearless, yet the metallic invaders pressing in from all directions seemed endless. The Queen gripped her spear and steadied her breath. She could not show fear. Her guards watched her with wide eyes, seeking strength in her calm stance. Far below the balcony stood a crowd of civilians who had fled into the fortress during the siege. Among them was a single human named Leyon. He had arrived on Vera only a week earlier as part of a neutral trade escort. He had no armor, no rank, no special standing. He was simply a visitor caught in the collapse of a world that was not his own. Leyon's eyes scanned the battlefield with a tense stillness. He had seen conflict before on distant colonies, but the kind he witnessed now was nothing like human wars. These machines towered as tall as buildings and stepped forward with relentless precision. From every joint gleamed red sensors that tracked movement like predators ready to pounce. They leveled their cannons, blasting apart defensive towers as if they were dried twigs. The ground trembled with every impact. The Queen raised her voice so all in the fortress could hear. Her tone carried the authority of someone who had led armies since youth. She declared that the outer wall would not last another full hour. She announced a final push to buy time for the evacuation tunnels to seal behind them. She could not guarantee survival. She could not promise a path to victory. She only asked her soldiers to stand with her one last time. Her guards bowed with firm resolve. They would follow her into any danger. Yet even they could see she was exhausted. The machines had wounded her earlier in the day when she intercepted a blast meant for her commanders. A deep mark ran across her side, sealed by Veran medicine, but still burning with every movement. She ignored it. Her people were watching. Leyon watched her too. He admired her strength. The Vera were a mighty species, taller than humans with elegant armor shaped from living alloys. They moved with fluid precision, as if battle itself was a form of art. Leyon had seen their skill in peaceful demonstrations when he first arrived. Now, seeing them cornered and beaten, something inside him stirred. He did not like cruelty. He did not like invaders who crushed others without thought or reason. As the Queen prepared to charge, he saw fear in the faces of the civilians around him. Children held on to their parents. Elders whispered final prayers. Warriors tightened their grips on broken weapons. Leyon looked at his own hands. They were unarmored and empty, yet he remembered a lesson from his homeworld. A person did not need strength of metal to change a battle. He needed resolve. He pushed through the crowd until he reached the base of the balcony. The Queen turned her head slightly when she noticed a lone human stepping forward. Her guards pointed spears toward him, but he did not stop. He shouted that she did not have to fight alone. The Queen stared at him with surprise. Humans were known for their resilience, but none would choose to stand in a war that was not theirs. He could flee through the tunnels with the civilians. He could wait for rescue vessels. But he lifted his chin and declared that Earth did not abandon allies. If he had breath left in him, he would fight beside her. A moment of silence washed across the balcony. Her guards exchanged glances. A human, unarmored and untrained in Veran combat, offering to join the last defense. It sounded absurd, yet there was no mockery in Leyon's eyes. Only conviction. The Queen asked him what made him believe he could aid them. His answer was simple. Humans fought not because they were the strongest. They fought because no one else should face the end alone. That truth, spoken clearly, struck something deep within her. She remembered old history. The humans were not a vast empire. They were not a species that sought conquest. Yet their stories were filled with impossible survival. They had risen from near extinction more than once. They had endured environments that would kill others. Something in their nature burned with defiance. The queen stepped down from the balcony and faced Leyon directly. She thanked him for his offer and asked if he understood the risk. He nodded. She studied him for a moment. Though small compared to her tall form, there was something unshakable in his gaze. She finally turned to her guards and gave a single command. "He will stand with us." The fortress shook with another impact. Cracks spread across the outer wall. Warriors scrambled into formation, sensing the final push of the enemy. The queen raised her spear. Her armor lit with faint blue energy, signaling her authority across the battlefield. Her voice echoed through the remaining speakers. She ordered the Veran army to prepare for the charge. Her soldiers roared in response, their spirits rekindled by the sight of their queen, unyielding despite her injury. Leyon stood at her side. His heart raced, but he held steady. The machines advanced over the ridge. Their cannons glowed with gathering power. The queen signaled her troops to remain still until she gave the order. She waited like a drawn bowstring. Leyon watched her stance. She was a warrior born for this moment. He mimicked her breathing, steadying himself. When the machines reached the foot of the fortress, the queen thrust her spear toward the enemy. Her voice rang like a storm. "Charge." The ground exploded with movement as the Veran army surged forward. The queen leapt ahead with supernatural speed. Her spear pierced the chest of the first machine, sending sparks flying. She spun, slicing through another. Her guards formed a shield line behind her, deflecting incoming fire. Leyon followed, grabbing a fallen Veran shield. It was heavy, but balanced. A machine aimed at him with its glowing cannon. He dove aside, rolled, and slammed the shield into its leg joint. The impact destabilized the machine. A Veran warrior finished it with a blade of energy. Leyon nodded in thanks and pushed forward. The queen noticed him breaking machines by striking their weak points. He moved with improvisation rather than training. Where Veran soldiers used elegant technique, he used raw instinct. He ducked under swinging metal limbs, climbed onto larger machines, tore out cables, and brought giants crashing down. His actions inspired those around him. If a lone human could match the machines, then the Veran could fight twice as hard. The battle grew fierce. The machines pressed in tighter. The queen fought with relentless precision. She could feel her injury worsening, but she refused to falter. Her guards protected her flanks, but the enemy numbers grew. A towering machine burst through the smoke, its cannons ready to strike her directly. Leyon saw it first. Without hesitation, he sprinted across the rubble. He leapt onto the machine's arm just as it fired. The blast hit the ground where the queen had stood moments earlier. Leyon smashed a metal plate until it broke free. The machine staggered, unable to aim properly. The queen seized the opening. With a decisive strike, she drove her spear through its core dot as the machine fell. The queen caught Leyon before he collapsed from the exertion. She steadied him and thanked him. He grinned through dust and exhaustion. He said he was not done, yet more machines descended from the ridge. The queen realized the enemy commander had finally entered the field. A massive machine rolled forward, taller than any before. On its head shined a single bright censer. The queen rallied her warriors. She knew the battle would hinge on this final clash. Leyon looked at the giant machine and felt a strange calm. Fear was there, but purpose was stronger. He suggested a plan. If they targeted the joints on the back legs, the machine might collapse long enough for the queen to strike its core. The queen listened carefully. It was risky. It required perfect timing. But she believed in the resolve she saw in Leyon. The army advanced as a single wave. The giant machine unleashed a barrage that shook the entire battlefield. The queen ordered her guards to protect Leyon as he moved into position. Leyon sprinted across debris, using collapsed machines as cover. He reached the back of the giant machine. The Iran warriors followed, forming a protective arc around him as he climbed its towering leg. The machine tried to shake him off, but he held tight. He reached the joint and struck it again and again. Sparks flew. The machine faltered. The leg sank into the rubble. The queen seized the moment. She launched herself forward with a thunderous leap. Her spear glowed with a radiant surge of energy drawn from the Viren core stone embedded in its base. She plunged the weapon into the giant machine's chest. A powerful shock rippled outward. The machine froze. Then it exploded in a blinding flash. The blast knocked Leyon from its back. The queen landed beside him, shielding him with her own armor. Smoke rolled across the field. When it cleared, the remaining machines flickered and collapsed. Their control network had failed. The Viren soldiers stared in stunned silence. The invasion force that threatened to erase their world now lay motionless. Victory, against all odds, belonged to them. The queen rose, lifting Leyon to his feet. The warriors around them raised their weapons high in a triumphant cry. Civilians emerged from the fortress,